Hello, Russell McCormack's Pets here with Invertebrate Dude. Welcome back.
Nice to be here, as always.
Always great to have you. And today we're going to be talking about Troglodillo species green spot. So, where is this species from?
So these are supposedly from Vietnam. Entered the hobby a few years ago. I think this was like during the big Southwest Asia the boom of isopods that we got from there. We got all the Cubaris species, some Troglodillos, and then shortly after that, then we started getting all the Ardentiella from Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
I think these came in like around the same time or maybe before like the first wave of Ardentiella from Vietnam. So, which were back then were Marylandella. But
Right.
so these guys are from Vietnam. There's similar species in China, as you were saying earlier. And those are maybe the same species. There's definitely other species there as well. And when these entered the hobby, they were first identified as Cubaris. Cubaris species green spot. Basically, everything from Asia that comes in is identified as Cubaris.
Right.
Right. And then they got identified as a Troglodillo species, and they were more specifically identified as Troglodillo rotundatus. But then later that ID was reversed because some of the experts in the hobby realize that they do not match the description for rotundatus perfectly. Some morphology differences.
Mm-hmm.
So they're almost certainly an undescribed species. There's a lot of those.
Right.
So for right now, it's just Troglodillo species green spot. So
Okay.
they're really cool.
And how would you describe them to someone? If you couldn't show someone a photo, how would you explain what they look like?
So imagine a roly-poly, and then you put it under, or like you smashed it down, steamrolled over it, and it's flat, but it can still curl up. It's still a roly-poly. It's not like the Porcellio, that are just completely flat. They can still curl up. It looks really silly. It's like a little squashed, like half circle.
Oh, interesting.
So that's just the body shape. Really cool. And then the color, they're like a translucent grayish color. It's like the base. Very transparent looking. And then on top of that, they got all this green and like yellowish modeling covering them. It almost looks like it's on two different layers. You know how like Armadillidium vulgare, it looks like the yellow flecks are like on a different, like a subcutaneous layer almost. It's kind of like that with the green spots, but you got some spotty that looks like it's on top, and then some that looks like it's on a lower layer of
two different layers.
Really, so they're really cool. Like I kind of got a weird like 3D effect going, but I love them. They're really, really cool, and the coloration is very like variable from individual to individual too. Mm-hmm. So no two look the same. So yeah, they're really, really pretty.
Yeah. I've never seen one in person, I don't think. I'll have to see one in person sometime. The photos are pretty cool, but they never do it justice.
No. It's hard to.
Yeah.
Justice.
Yeah. So are there any, you were saying there's only one locality really, the limited locality information is just we know they're from Vietnam.
Yeah.
Are there any morphs in the hobby at this point?
So I saw one person a couple years ago that had some, he was calling them like ghost phase or like silver phase or something. Mm-hmm. They were some that were coming out like completely like platinum, like gray, like no green spotting whatsoever. Yeah. But I don't think that ever proved out because I haven't seen anyone posting about them since then. I have had some individuals in my colony pop up almost like Dalmatian colored, but instead of the modeling on them being like white, it is like dark gray, which is weird. It's like big gray splotches and then the normal green coloration in patches. So like I don't know if that's the Dalmatian morph in this species and they just don't exhibit like their white is just translucent gray. I don't know. It's weird. So I've isolated some of those and I'm going to see if it proves out genetically.
That would be cool. Like a reverse Dalmatian.
Right? Yeah. So we're going to see what happens with those.
And it doesn't affect the gray specks.
Mm-mm.
I mean, the green speck, sorry.
No. They still got the green specking, like they have the patches of the green, which is what I would consider the normal coloration, and then they just have these patches of just solid gray.
Wow.
So it's weird. It's weird, yeah. So we'll see if that proves out.
Yeah, I hope it does. That's cool that they're showing up in your culture.
Yeah.
So, what is care for the Troglodillo species green spot like?
So they're a little bit more finicky.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't call them difficult necessarily, but if you don't get the conditions just right, you are gonna have problems. I know my first culture, I started with like maybe a dozen, and then they got down to like 5, no, maybe like 4, and then I got a little bit of a booster and had to try again, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But I got them figured out after that. So they need good ventilation
Mm-hmm.
and a good, like a solid humidity gradient. They do not like it. They do not want the entire enclosure to be humid, and they don't want the entire enclosure being dry either. They need that space that they like it like right in between humid and dry, and so it's best to do that in a larger setup so that they have more space in that specific gradient that they really like. So I like to start them off at something like with the floor space of like a 5-gallon bin, something a bit larger.
Okay.
Um, I keep them like about 50-50 humidity gradient, half the enclosure dry, half wet. They're often like right on the in between. Sometimes more on the wet side, especially if the ventilation is high.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to like that. Substrate, you can use whatever isopod substrate you like using. I just use coconut fiber, top of cocoa core chunks. They do not burrow much. The babies like may burrow underneath, litter on the substrate for like the first couple of instars, but after that, they pretty much exclusively are going to be like clinging to the core.
Okay.
So cork bark, they love cork bark. That's my primary hide for them.
Mm-hmm.
I have some hardwood bark in there as well. Some egg crates, they'll use that too. But yeah, lots of hides on top of the substrate and lots of leaf litter. They do best when they have a consistent supply of leaf litter, a couple inches deep, preferably. You'll find them like up in the leaf litter. They're like, I wouldn't describe them as arboreal, but they definitely like climbing around a lot. But they're not like arboreal like the Ardentelia are.
Mm-hmm.
They prefer hiding under stuff, but they will take advantage of height if you give it to them.
Okay.
But, yeah.
So I want to circle back to their size because I forgot to ask you about that when you're introducing them. About how big are they?
About like 1.5 centimeters.
Okay.
Some especially large ones might get to like 2 centimeters.
So a decent size.
Most. Yeah.
Yeah.
At most, I would probably say mostly you're going to see like 1.5 centimeters.
Okay.
Anything pushing that is going to be an exceptionally large individual.
So
So they're decent. They're decent size for sure.
yeah, not bad.
And very, very wide. Too.
Yeah. Built like little tanks, kind of flat tank.
Yeah, exactly.
So the when you're talking about the ventilation for you and for me, good ventilation might be different than it is for somebody else in a more humid area because we both live in a dry climate. So if they need good ventilation where you are, they might need even better ventilation for someone in a more humid climate.
Yes, or more ventilation or drier. If you're in a more humid climate, you might want to keep them not on 50-50, but more like
25,
30 or 40% humid, and then 60-70% dry.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can kind of balance it out.
That makes sense.
That way too. But yeah, definitely good airflow because they don't like it stagnant and humid, stuffy. Yeah, they like to have their choice.
So do they have preferred foods, or are they just not picky?
Leaf litter is definitely like their preferred food. Like there's a lot of isopods that like prefer the supplemental food to the leaf litter and stuff, but these guys, they love their leaf litter. It's very important. They don't really breed without it. And then other than that, I feed them like fish flakes and dog food, and they eat a decent bit of that as well. Especially with my colony being as big as it is, they go through supplemental food pretty good. So
Okay, cool.
but yeah,
All
just
right,
normal isopod foods for these guys.
makes sense. So we went over some of, like, it sounds like their moisture gradient and their ventilation, leaf litter. Those are some things you really need to keep in mind. Are there any other unique care requirements?
Yeah, they're really good at climbing, so they can get out if the ventilation holes are too big. So use micro mesh or make sure your holes are poked small enough. Pinhole ventilation. Although the babies are like tiny, so I would recommend micro mesh.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure the lid is very tight fitting because they'll get out and under if they can get to the top.
It's like a gas bin would be a good idea.
That's what I would recommend. I have none of those, so sometimes they get out. Sometimes they do get out. It doesn't matter because my colony is big enough where that's not a worry. I don't have any other Troglodillo species, so it's not like I have to worry about cross contamination. And well, no, I guess I do have other Troglodillo species, but they're like on the other side of the room.
Oh.
So, and I don't think they can hybridize. But yeah, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. They are kind of escape artists, so make sure your enclosure is escape proof if that's something that is important to you.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. So that sounds like basically the only con of this species is that it tends to like to escape if you don't make provision to prevent it.
That, and again, I wouldn't say they're conditions that they like are difficult to give to them, but if you mess up even a little bit, like they drop like flies.
Okay.
Like I said, like I started with 10 to a dozen of them initially, and within like a couple weeks, more than half of them had died. I was like,
okay, yeah.
Because I only had them in a 1-gallon bin at the time, and I had them on a humidity gradient, but the bin was too small to really support that kind of humidity gradient. So the substrate was half and half, but I think the air humidity in the enclosure was still kind of too high, a little too high, a little too stagnant. Either that, or they were fighting for space, right in the gradient that they like. So, yeah, that was rough.
So that does make sense. Yeah, it's always rough to lose those, especially when you're just getting into it.
Exactly. Yeah. But I lucked out and was able to get more, and now I have hundreds of them. So
nice.
they are, yeah. And that's the other thing too. They're really prolific.
Mm-hmm.
They have small broods, but they have them often. I've heard some people say that theirs have like really big broods of babies. I haven't really noticed that. They just have a lot of small broods, and their babies come out minuscule. But yeah, they breed pretty consistently, pretty steadily, and so yeah, they are honestly pretty prolific when set up properly.
So it doesn't seem to be seasonal at all?
No, I would not say. No, they're a tropical Asian species, so yeah, they pretty much breed year-round as long as conditions are right.
Yeah, it seems like, so kind of like the rubber duckies, although it sounds more prolific, but they'll have a smaller broods, but just constantly as long as they're doing
it. Yeah.
What is the temperature range in the room you keep yours in?
Right now it's sitting at like 83, but it gets up to 90 in here sometimes. And again, as long as the ventilation's high, that's really not a concern. Most isopods, especially none of the tropical ones, seem to be very heat sensitive as long as they have adequate ventilation. If you don't have good ventilation and you keep something in like 90 degrees, yeah, it's probably going to have a hard time. Yeah. But as long as they can breathe, and they have evaporative cooling going on with the, as the substrate dries out and the moisture wicks into the air, you have evaporative cooling going on, so that cools them down as well. So yeah, it's not too much of an issue. Honestly, with these guys, anything below 75 Fahrenheit, and I would be worried that they would stop breeding.
Okay.
In the tropical species, I haven't tested out for myself. They might breed fine at room temperatures, but certainly I think they'll breed and grow faster kept warmer because it is a tropical Asian species. So.
And since you keep so many species of invertebrates that require on temperatures on the warmer end, they never really get cool in your room.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Constantly warm.
Okay, so you mentioned that when the when they produce a brood, the individual monkai are minuscule.
Mm-hmm.
Do they grow fairly quickly?
I would say, yeah, they compared to something like Cubaris or Reduckies, they do grow relatively quickly. Trying to think, I would maybe say like from Menka to breeding size, maybe like 6 months.
Okay. Yeah.
Around there is what I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even less than that, honestly. Maybe like 4 to 6 months. I'm gonna say that.
Okay.
In that range. So pretty fast under, at least when kept warmer. Kept cooler, they probably grow quite a bit slower.
Kind of slow down, yeah.
Yeah, but at the temperatures I have mine at, they reach breeding size pretty quickly. Which is like half their full size, they're able to start breeding. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's interesting to see how most isopods in the hobby reproduce at a size much below their maximum size.
Yeah.
But it varies. A dairy cow can breed when it's like a quarter of the adult size.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So it's always interesting to note that.
Yeah.
Okay. So my guess is that these are not very popular for like cleanup crew. Is that true?
Yeah. No, I've never heard of anyone using them as a cleaner crew, and I don't think they'd be very good at it because mostly they eat the leaf litter. They do eat the supplemental foods too, but when they have leftovers in their own enclosure, it doesn't really get clean. I have to take it out, so I wouldn't really use them as a cleaner crew.
So just strictly a display isopod.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as far as being visible in the daytime, sensitive to light, the flea response when you lift up decor, how are they with all of that?
They're pretty skittish. They're not really out and about too much. They do not like light, and as soon as you lift up the hide, they go. And that's the thing with these guys; they're very fast. I feel like I forgot to mention that they're like little roaches. They scatter. They're very, very fast runners. So they'll do one of two things. They'll either like hunker down real tight onto the bark if you lift them up, or they just run straight off, roll down to the ground. Yeah. So, yeah, they're very, very fast and very skittish. But when you have a large enough colony, you lift a piece of bark and there's just gonna be tons under there.
Dozens of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so not great for if you wanted to set up a glass or an acrylic display tank, probably a great option.
Yeah, probably.
Very cool to see.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And how's their feeding response when you drop food in there, like supplemental food? Do they go for it like dairy cows, or are they a little more reserved?
A little bit more reserved. I will say, for the first time ever, a couple of weeks ago, I threw in some dog food and sprayed their enclosure down, and then I went back to it a couple hours later, and I saw there were a bunch of them on the surface, swarming the dog food. So that was the first time I'd seen that, and it took until I had hundreds of them for them to do that. So, but it does happen, I guess, when their population's high enough. But for the most part, they're pretty reserved.
Okay. So you'd have to wait till you have pretty dense
healthy
before you see that kind of thing. Yeah. That makes sense.
Probably.
So it sounds like, as far as pros go, they're really unique looking, not only in their color and pattern, but also in their conglobation.
Yeah.
Looks really unusual because they're so dorsally flattened.
Yep.
I look forward to seeing that someday.
Yeah.
And then sounds like they're a decent size as well and breed very well as long as they have what they need.
Yes.
And in terms of cons, their requirements aren't too difficult, but they're fairly exact.
Yes. Pretty touchy.
And that they're pretty good at escaping and very fast movers, not very visible under most circumstances.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Well, thank you. This is a lot of great information on Troglodillo species green spot.
Yeah.
So if someone's interested in finding out more about this species or other, how many species of invertebrates do you have now on your website? It's over 300, right?
It's almost 500. Almost 500.
Wow.
We're almost there. I haven't updated it. I have some more to add to the list, but I think I'm sitting on the list right now at 480 something species.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got in like some more species from Kyle this week, so I have to add those to the list. But yeah, 480 is what I'm at on the website right now.
480,
But
sweet.
I got more than that. It's probably closer to 490, so almost 500.
That's fantastic. So if you're looking for something, there's a good chance that Invertebrate Dude has it, especially in things like roaches,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of isopods. But what are a lot of beetles you work with? What are some other things you're working with now?
I'm really getting into weird arachnids, pseudoscorpions, harvestmen. I got those little mini whip spiders, the charinus.
Yeah, I saw that on your
Yeah,
Instagram the other day.
those
That
are
was
so
awesome.
cool. I just hatched out. Got a bunch of first instar aromobates. The why am I blanking on the name? The wind spiders, the solo
Yeah.
fuchsias.
So
Yeah, I
cool.
got some native Idaho ones hatched out. So
Awesome.
what happens with those?
Good luck
But yeah, a lot of weird arachnids. I got earwigs. I think I have the largest earwig collection in the world. Just saying.
Yeah. Got some leeches, right?
Leeches. Yep. Just paired those. Moth flies. All sorts of weird odds and ends.
Yeah.
Assassin bugs. So yeah, a lot of stuff.
So if you want to see what Invertebrate Dude is up to with a lot of really cool arthropods and beyond arthropods, like the leeches, then check out invertebratedude.com. I've been scrolling the ticker tape down at the bottom the whole time so that you can check that out. But if you haven't checked out that website, go ahead and do that. And you're also available on Instagram, and you have a YouTube channel as well.
Yep.
So good places to go. All right. Well, thanks again, Invertebrate Dude, for joining us.
And thanks for having me.